Hello, it's Lou Collins. Today I've got a die cutting technique for you, one that I've been using for a very long time, just to create shaped card bases around a die cut that you intend on putting on the card. So for example, here's a little gift card that I'm making. It's going to actually hold a coupon eventually, or a gift card, but I want to have the word happy birthday in the middle. But I'd also like the front of the card to be shaped around this. Now, of course, you can take a pencil, you can draw around it, and then you can go ahead and cut that out with scissors maybe. But it's much easier to use your die cutting machine. So what we're going to do is open this up. Now, fortunately, this particular die, it actually comes from a new set that just launched on Craft Stash this week, and this is called the A2 Essentials, but they're everyday sentiments, so they can be used with any size or shape card. So I'm using the happy birthday, and as you can see, it's a really good size, which is why I want to make a focal point of it. So with this set, we do get the shadows, which is what I'm going to use here. So what you want to do is take a little bit of low tack tape, and if it's not quite low tack enough for you, pop it onto your top just to put a little bit of fluff on there. And place it whereabouts you'd like that. Now I want this to be directly in the middle of the card. As I say, I have opened my card up. It's essential that you do this, unless of course you want the front and the back of your card to be shaped. I'll show you this way anyway. So I'm going to place this now into my die cutting machine, but I'm not going to cut it all the way through. So what I'm going to do is put my card with the die onto the plates, but I'm going to overhang. So the part of the cardstock that you're not die cutting, overhang that over the edge of the plates and just place this on. Now your top plate, it's important that this is placed, positioned correctly. Now I like to also, another thing I like to do is just pop a little bit of tape down to hold my card in place there, so I know that's not going to move as it's going through the machine. Now the plate is not going to go directly on top, it's actually going to go a little bit further. If I bring this into the middle, so what you want to do is put the edge of your plate whereabouts you want your card, the main base of the card, to stop, so how far you want to die cut. And when you see the result, you'll probably understand this stage a little bit more. So I want half of this die cut out just here, so I'm only putting the plate over that half. So let's run this through, making sure that it's at a nice right angle. You could do this at a diagonal as well, it's another fun look for you, but I'd suggest do it straight first so you get the idea, get the hang of the technique. So I'm just going to run that through and back in the same way as I would if I was die cutting anything else. I can pop this out now. Let's take a look at what that's done. So that's just cut half of that die cut for us. So what we can do now is very gently just remove your tape. One, and again. Just remove the tape by folding it over on itself and rolling it back. There we go. And then you don't usually get it peeling off any of the paper. So now what I'm going to do, and you can do this with scissors or you can do it with a craft knife, whichever's your preference, is just to take a ruler. Again, maybe use your mat to make sure that you get a right angle here, and just draw yourself a pencil line just at the top above your die cut and at the bottom there. And then I'm going to take my chosen cutting tool, which is scissors for me, and I'm just going to cut where that line is, and again here, there. And then the rest of your cardstock should just pop away, and you're left with a shaped edge to a card. Now this doesn't have to be a sentiment die, of course. This can be absolutely any die that you want it to be. So it could be that you just like a circle peeking out there, or half a heart, or it could be something really intricate like a leaf foliage die or something, but that just means you've got that lovely effect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off part of my card and just make this into a pretty springtime card. I'm going to pop this onto my blending mat to keep, or even just this will be absolutely fine, a piece of plastic. So let's go with some nice pink at the bottom. There we go, just blending that up from the base. As I say, I've got my masking tape there, so that will keep the back of the card nice and clean. Bring that up to just over halfway. We're just doing the two like so. And then Tumbled glass, which is a light blue, and I'm going to do this from the top down, so in the reverse. You can tell which of my ink pads are the more juicy, the newer ones. So obviously the pink I've had longer, much easier to put the ink to paper. This one's starting to dry out a little bit, so it takes a little bit longer to apply the colour. Still works perfectly well though, as long as I'm not impatient. There we go. So we've got those two colours there. Now let's just take this off, and I'd say allow that to dry for a few moments as well, if you've got the time. Just peeling off that tape too. And lastly, I want to cut out the happy birthday. Now I'm going to do this from something like a metallic silver. And I'm going to die cut the entire piece here. And back again. I always go forward and back. It's not usually because the die cut needs to go through twice, but usually because it just saves me leaning over my machine to get my plates. So I've got a pokey tool here, so I'll just pop the word out carefully. There we go, and that will sit beautifully inside of there. A little bit, just a little bit of detail glue here. And just run that on the larger parts of the die. And pop that down over the top of the ink. You want to have a good glue here because you're going on to inked card. So a nice sticky glue that has a quick grab on it is perfect. There we go. So pop the pin back in my glue bottle to make sure that doesn't dry out. And if I now fold this over, as you can see, we've got that fun shaped card. Now of course you could decorate the inside of this. You could actually pop your mirror card, your silver inside there as well, but essentially you've created a shaped card very quickly and easily, and this can be done with absolutely any die you have in your stash.